I'm Jeff Nicholson, the CMO of Kantata, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to Converge 2025. Come on in and grab yourself a great virtual seat and get comfortable because this is a very special event. This week's event's packed with information that you're going to be able to take back and use. You see, we brought together the world's leading industry experts and thought leaders from really across the globe to share, well, their perspectives. Their perspectives are what we're here about. And that's what Converge, the term is even about, isn't it? The exchanging of ideas. And there's never been a more important time, has there? In fact, this won't be like the Converge events of the past because something has changed. Over this past year, we've been traveling the globe ourselves to meet with you, our incredible clients, and we've been listening. Today, we're going to be sharing with all of you, what we've been hearing, because what you told us is that we are at a turning point. Until now, this industry of services has largely existed without real dramatic change. But with the introduction of new technology, which we've all been hearing about, it's rewriting the playbook for what success will look like in the future. And this promises to disrupt our very business models. So, as you're sensing, this week is about a whole lot more than just technology. To that end, over the next 3 days, you're going to hear from incredible Kantata customers. You'll be hearing from innovators like Avalara, Foil, Potter Clarkson, West Monroe, IQ-Link. NextThink is also here, Mariner, Toyota Connected. You'll also be hearing from the leading industry experts like Kennedy Intelligence. IDC will be sharing brand new research. SPI will be here, and they're going to be sharing with you an incredible announcement that I can't wait for you to hear. Of course, you'll be hearing from Kantata experts as well. In fact, during today's event, we're going to be unveiling the industry-first innovation that you've all been waiting for, and it's going to help propel you into this next era. By the way, you're actually going to get to see a demo right here. Our goal is very simple. We want you to leave with something real, something you can take back to your organization and spark real change. So, are you ready? It's time to strap in. Converge 2025 is underway officially. And with that, I'm going to now pass the baton to our very first session led by Bo DiMuccio. He's TSA's, I'm going to get this right, Distinguished Vice President of Professional Service Research and Advisory, and Kantata's very own Fortuné Alexander, our Vice President of Product Marketing, to help kick off the discussions. I can't wait to hear it. So with that, take it away, Bo and Fortuné.
All right, Jeff, thank you very much. Welcome. Again, I'm Fortuné Alexander, Vice President of Product Marketing here at Kantata. I'm here with my good friend. We've been on together several times this year, Bo DiMuccio from TSIA. Bo, it's great to have you on again. Welcome to Kantata Converge. Bo, can you tell the audience a little bit about TSIA and what you do for TSIA?
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Fortuné. What a pleasure it is to be here with you. I really look forward to the conversation, appreciate the opportunity. So what's TSIA? It's the Technology and Services Industry Association. We're an organization dedicated to helping professional services and other service leaders optimize their operations and enhance their business performance. Very simply, how do we do that? We provide access to benchmark data and expert insights that enable our members to identify best practices, assess their performance against peers, implement strategies that drive KPIs that matter to them. In short, Fortuné, we aggregate the collective wisdom of the industry so you don't have to.
That's great, Bo. And I love your research. I'm a huge fan. We're going to get into a lot of it today, but we're not going to kill the audience with PowerPoint. We made the decision to keep the slideware light so we could really focus on the conversation. And Bo, I'm from Texas. I love ZZ Top, and we're going to start really strong, just like my favorite ZZ Top song, and call it like it is. Professional services is at a crossroads. You've been saying it for a while. You've been indicating this in your research. We can't kick the can down the road any longer. Leaders are standing at the crossroads. And, it's clear. We talk about this. AI disruption is really accelerating. We see it daily in the headlines. I think most of us probably caught the news last Thursday. Accenture's firing 10,000 consultants who don't have AI skill sets. 40% of McKinsey's business is now from AI consulting. OpenAI is starting their own professional services arm, which is of course a threat for services industries. Um, so, you just see wave after wave of disruption, big drops in college grads being hired into services, massive pressure on cost and margins. Bo, this feels like it's kind of a race to the bottom unless leaders see this fork in the road right now and embrace dramatic change. And so my question for you, Bo, is you have a very unique perspective advising TSIA members doing the research. What's your take on, are the leaders you talk to recognizing the urgency and are they acting with urgency?
Yes and no. Fortunate is what I'd say. I mean, there's no question. You don't need me to tell your audience that we're at a transformation crossroads. The disruption is here, it's undeniable. It's driven by AI, but it's also driven by, I would say, increasing client demands for demonstrable value and outcomes. What our data shows is that the industry's response to date has been, I'd call it, uneven. So the shift that's happening, the crossroads we're at, there's no denying it. But the truth is that what our finding is that most of our members, our customers, are still grappling with a lot of inertia that exists from sort of the past and the current portfolio and the existing processes, the existing systems and tools. One of the problems is that, and we track this very closely, AI adoption in the PS realm is still kind of tentative. It's still sort of low. PS organizations are still predominantly, we would say, in an exploration and pilot phase. It's
Mhm.
rapidly changing, but I would say a big blocker here, and I think it goes back to your crossroads. We're at a crossroads. What do we need to do? We need to plan. But we're not. I think a lot of organizations that we work with still don't really have an AI roadmap or a dedicated budget, or they rely on the corporation's transformation office. And we know where that leads to. So the urgency is there. There's no question about it. But the PS leaders, and it's like this is relevant for your audience, they face this immense challenge of balancing current operations and the current backlog with this enormous pressure to adapt and change and transform, adopt AI, basically to move to what we're going to talk about later in this
Yeah.
discussion, move to PS 2.0.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to getting into that conversation. But just to build this out a little bit, the big question for PS leaders is which way are you going to go with your strategy? Are you going to automate the as is with AI? Or are you going to radically transform your business with AI? And what we see from our perspective is many orgs are kind of veering left at the moment, getting marginal improvements from AI agents. And again, AI agents are relatively new. They're automating what I would call the admin functions. It's important and necessary work, Bo, but it's not really revolutionizing the core of their work, what they do. It's not redefining their offerings. It's not really moving towards delivering those outcomes that clients are looking for. So, are you seeing firms heading left down the efficiency path or right down the transformation path?
Both, right? And it kind of ties back to what I was just talking about. Look, the PS leaders, you guys work with them, we work with them. They're under enormous pressure to both adapt and transform, but also keep the lights on.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of motivation to use new tools, AI tools to kind of automate what they're already doing. That's why so much of what they're focused on currently is automating internal processes and workflows so that they're more efficient on the back end. There's much more tentative move into really fundamentally changing what you deliver and how you deliver it. That's kind of the next phase of how you price it, how you generate revenue from it. So the less risky thing to do is to focus on kind of automating and optimizing current operations. I don't think that's crazy to do. I think it makes a lot of sense to do that. But if that's all you do and you keep doing that for the time being, you're going to get left in the dust. So you have to be able to walk and chew gum here, Fortuné. You have to be able to focus on what you can do to automate and make more efficient what you're already doing, because we're still selling time. we're still selling projects, right? We're still cost up as a sort of a pricing framework for the most part. But these changes, they're coming, and you got to gear up for it. So that's what I suggest that that they need to do, is really start thinking about how can I do both of these things? How can I automate the status quo, but also really aggressively gear up for what's coming?
Yeah, Bo, you and I have talked about this. The market is absolutely flooded with messaging around AI agents. And, AI agents will get better. I would call AI agents today kind of more intern, where they don't intern like, they lack situational awareness. They can definitely automate, the easy stuff and the administrative bits. But my fear, Bo, and I'm curious on your thoughts on this, is it's almost myopic conversations exclusively around AI agents. And I think that the hype is at the peak, and we're about to go through a little period of descent and trough of disillusionment. What's your take on that? Do you think, I feel like right now everyone's like AI agents are going to solve all your problems, and that's clearly not the case. What's your take?
It's very similar to the take I already gave you. I think I agree with you. There's tons of hype around agentic AI. That's where a lot of the conversation is going. But you got to look at what people are actually adopting. And adoption of, truly agentic, replacing functions that used to be kind of held by people with pure machine or automated functionality. This is happening pretty slowly, and I think one of the reasons is that the systems and the tools, the software vendors that the PS teams rely on, they're really just coming online with these sorts of functionalities, and so you can't expect PS teams to sort of build their own agents if the tools that they use don't have agentic capabilities built into them. So I really think a lot of them are frankly in a wait and see mode here. And at the same time, again, going back to the previous point, it's not crazy to be focused on what can I do with currently mature tools to do what I already do better. There's nothing crazy about that. But we've got to start really looking ahead, and we got to start looking ahead soon.
Yeah, the other thing, Bo, I think that's, stalled slightly innovation is the unpredictable pricing models around AI agents. We think firms are, a little hesitant to spend money until it's clear that the ROI is there. I mean, we all saw the MIT report circulating a few weeks ago, where business leaders are saying, "Hey, we don't see the return yet." But that's a risky thing because as we talked about in a previous conversation, if you see a little bit of disillusionment, it may cause people to say, well, we're going to wait until this all shakes out. And you cannot afford to sit and wait. Like you just said, you got to have those, early pilots. You got to have the learnings. And so one of the things that we did, Bo, at Kantata is we made a conscious decision with our early AI agents not to charge for them because we wanted our clients to use them, to understand them, to give us feedback. And we've gotten great feedback, and we've got some amazing product innovation that goes way beyond AI agents. That's in the next session, the next keynote. So just giving folks a little sneak peek. We got some big news dropping right after you and I. But let's get back to the here now. We do our own research. We're about to publish the State of Professional Services 2025. And it's very clear that PS leaders they're planning for AI, they want to adopt AI, they want it to be operational within 2 years. They want to account for AI agents and their models and how they price, and they need it to scale their revenue. So all the things, Bo, that we've just talked about, but I think there's something missing from the conversation, and that something is bigger and bolder thinking on where AI can actually take us. And also there is a strategy to get from what you call PS 1.0 to PS 2.0. And I love your framework. I love your research. I hate that we can't go through in detail the multiple reports that you've recently published on PS 2.0, but we've tried to distill it down to a couple of slides to paint the picture of the broader strategy of where we need to go and how we can use AI to get there. So with that, Bo, let's dive into and compare and contrast where we are today with this PS 2.0 vision that you have painted.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of our vision of where we've been and where we're headed. We are still, to some extent, mired in and wedded to PS 1.0. We're delivering projects. We do bespoke stuff. Our revenue models, our pricing models are still heavily T&M focused. I already talked about the tepid sort of movements that a lot of PS teams are making into more mature AI adoption. We're siloed. You can see these elements that I'm walking down. They're not standalone. They cause one another. They relate to one another. So when you're siloed, it dictates some other things. When you're focused on your own financial performance, guess what? You have to be pretty focused on billable utilization and attach rate and project gross margin and those kinds of things. But this is all becoming upended as we speak. And as I said, it's partly because of the technologies that are now available to us that are changing so much as we sit here. That is happening. But I think another big factor is just the increasing customer demand for faster time to value, greater efficiency, cheaper total cost of ownership, and outcomes. And that's where we're going. And it's not going to stop. It's inexorable. We're moving in that direction. And you can either gear up for it or not. You can recognize that the way that you currently operate today is going away, and it's going away pretty fast, or not. And if you fail to recognize it, then you're going to fail to gear up. If you're going to fail to gear up, then I'm afraid to tell you, you're not going to be in business.
Yeah, Bo, it's interesting. I think most leaders, when they look at this slide and look at your research, say, absolutely, that's where we want to go. But everybody still seems to be a bit stuck in first gear or second gear. And I know that you have some very good research as to why if it's self-evident when you look at this column 2.0, why haven't people moved there more quickly? I think technology's piece of it, but you have some other aspects that I think are pretty compelling. For all of the time I've been in this industry, it's always, this paradigm of people, process, and technology. And to that, I would also add leadership. And so could you talk about, some of the, people aspects of why this is probably stuck in first or second gear?
Absolutely. Well, I think that there's first of all, sort of a natural, normal human tendency to go to what's familiar and to seek comfort in that. But boy, I tell you, the human piece of this, what it leads to is a failure to plan, first of all. So I think we don't just need a PS strategy anymore. We need a really robust AI fueled PS 2.0 strategy.
Yeah.
Just your run of the mill kind of PS strategy. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? What kind of investments do I need to make? This isn't going to cut it anymore. You've got to very specifically map out a strategy to get from where you are to something closer to PS 2.0. How am I going to evolve the role of professional services in driving customer value and company value? Can I move to more of a subscription model? How do I integrate AI into everything I do? I think that's if there's a biggest blocker in all of this, it's really kind of a failure to really thoroughly think through a transformation strategy. Now, look, I get it. You're busy keeping the lights on. You probably are doing riffs now and again. There's a lot. Our PS customers that you and I both focus on are under enormous stress, and there's not exactly all this bandwidth to go and sit and strategize.
Yeah.
But it
Okay.
really is necessary to do. Otherwise, you're not going to get there.
Okay, let's take a little look. You actually do research around where firms are on their maturity journey towards this PS 2.0. If you could walk us briefly through this model, and then we can continue.
Yeah, I think it's pretty intuitive. So when you think about what kind of the stages of development are, we think there are about 5 stages of development around PS 2.0 maturity. If you think back on that past slide, if phase one is sort of that left-hand column, phase five, you're sort of already over to the right, and there are some gradations in between. So if you're getting there, you're really starting to initially explore digital transformation and these sorts of things, that you're making progress. When you really start to see a transformation blooming is offerings evolution. The very fundamental way that you package up value and position it to the marketplace and deliver it. When you start to really rethink this, now you're starting to move in the right direction. When you can start to execute that evolved offering portfolio at scale and deliver value scalably over time in a way that makes you financially sustainable and that drives company and customer success, now you're really getting there. And when you've kind of fully dispensed with more or less all the vestiges of PS 1.0, you're here at this stage 5, and you can see the requirements are pretty high because the benchmarking and the research that we do, you can see the bell curve. Well, it's not really much of a bell curve. It's heavily left-leaning distribution. um, the reason why we still focus quite a bit on how to make PS 1.0 better is because so many of us are there still. But our messaging, and I'm sure yours is every day more and more about, hey, how do we walk and chew gum? How do we do what we currently do better while we're gearing up to do the next thing? That's kind of where
Yeah.
the action is at. And there are some other blockers we could talk about, and there are reasons why that bell curve looks the way it does. But I really feel like with the help of providers like you guys, we're gonna, as an industry, we're gonna see, I think, a pretty steady and ultimately dramatic move to the right on this right-hand graph.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing this shift, and especially, I expect we'll see it shift sooner rather than later. I believe in, your research. You noted that, in the next 5 years, firms aren't going to look anything like they do today, which is still similar to how they looked 5 years ago. And it's
Right.
probably going to be sooner than that. Look, I love maturity models. We have one that we use at Kantata. It's an AI maturity model and framework. And tomorrow we actually have our morning keynote with Sarah Edwards, who is our Chief Product Officer. And she has 3 of our clients, West Monroe, Mariner Innovations, and NextThink. And so we'll walk through the Kantata AI maturity model tomorrow and hear from 3 clients, how they are approaching their AI strategy and adoption. So for folks in this session, if you want to see in detail more how some of our clients, are working through their AI strategy and maturity, you'll want to make sure and attend that session. Okay, Bo, let's dive back in for a moment because we've touched on, technology and the solutions that underpin this shift to PS 2.0. So if we just go back and give a more eye-friendly view of the PS 2.0 fundamentals that we just talked through a bit, you have this graphic in the middle that really shows, all of these key elements being tied together at the core. And I would suggest, Bo, that, what is going to make those PS 2.0 ambitions a reality is, to riff off of your terms here, is a PSA 2.0, a more intelligent, PSA that's actually designed to deliver on, multi-model AI and enable tracking of outcomes that can be used to measure client value and success. Would you agree with that? That's what that center circle actually is a more intelligent, PSA 2.0.
Oh, I strongly agree. And what I would call it would be a kind of an intelligent core platform. if I were gonna, it's your phrase and I love it, you should use it. PSA 2.0, I think, is actually non-negotiable because the convergence and predictive capabilities required for PS 2.0, what do they require? Seamless data integration, fluidity. Those are the sorts of things that a PSA is going to do. A PSA has to serve as, I guess you could call it the central nervous system for the business, consolidating data from various data streams, CRM, all delivery tools, all this stuff has to be integrated. You can't get there with disparate systems. You can't get to those points around PSA 2.0 on that graphic. You can't get there with disconnected data streams and multiple sources of truth and bad data. So I think these are all necessary to scale all of the capabilities, but particularly the AI capabilities beyond, a single project and operationalize the new models of delivery and resource management and everything else. So you don't get to integrated AI models. You can't execute a subscription model at scale. I think we're going to move away from projects every day and move more and more to renewable, perhaps ratable, continuous engagement models. Those have to be value-based. Can you measure value? Do you have the telemetry? Are the sources of telemetry integrated? Do you have organizational boundaries that get in the way of these data integrations? And ultimately, can you deliver scalably to meet increasing customer demands for faster time to value, better value, more clear outcomes? All these sorts of things have a kind of a central requirement. And I completely agree with you that that central nervous system ultimately is you guys.
Yeah, it's interesting, Bo. Some out there would say that middle center is going to become this autonomous thing that just runs itself. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're gonna share some pretty exciting innovations, but this PSA 2.0, I think one, you have to have a really strong foundation, and that's the PSA systems, the Kantata platform that we have today, for example, provides that. But you need more. You need a unifying intelligence. And what's interesting here is in your framework, you talk about AI-powered models in the plural sense, not just one. And so what you really need is not only the ability to bring all your data together, project data, resource data, documents, even all your communications, but you really need a multi-layered AI model that is firm specific to you, that's listening in your organization across all your channels. It's really kind of learning what makes you you, and kind of learning your secret sauce and expertise, and then kind of arming your whole team, your entire, all your people and all your agents, not just admin functions or back office staff, but everybody, to be able to consistently deliver your best work every single time. Scalable, packaged, repeatable offerings, everything you write about in PS 2.0. So what I'm basically saying is, where we are headed is moving a PSA away from kind of the margins of your business to the new operating system for your business. And I think it's super exciting, and we're going to really unveil our vision and strategy for how that gets done in the next session soon. So before we do that, before we wrap and we go, Bo, the last slide that I think is a really great visualization, and I love how you talk about it, is what is the step-by-step strategy that you advise your clients to take to start down this journey to 2.0? So we'll go to that now, and just maybe we'll just start at the bottom. And I think step number one, is probably one of the most important.
Don't just have a strategy, have a PS 2.0 transformation strategy. Aligned with corporate objectives, that's table stakes, but really think through how are we going to get from where we are to where we're going to be. That has to be defined and clear, and that is not negotiable. Part of what you need to do in that strategy is number two. You have to build a business case to modernize your infrastructure. in a way, number two and number one are really inseparable, because upgrading your digital systems and data governance for scalability, you can't do any of the subsequent things if that's a fail point for you. So the recommendation is that your PS 2.0 strategy has to have a very fundamental core piece in it called building a business case to modernizing our infrastructure. That's going to enable you to integrate AI across all your processes and workflows. It's going to enable you to not just automate your internal processes, but deliver more efficiently, do better AI solutions consulting. We think that if you're standing pat on project mentality for what how you're packaging up your company's value and how you're positioning it to the marketplace, you're going to get left behind. The customers want flexible consumption. They want value-based consumption. They want subscription services. So you better figure out how to do that. If you haven't invested in a services engineering function, either inside a PS or cross-functionally across customer experience, get on that right away. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to evolve to professional services as a subscription. I think it almost goes without saying that you have to operationalize scalable delivery, streamline service delivery with standard processes, standard offers. And then finally, Fortuné, success metrics are changing. And the success metrics that we're used to measuring and monitoring today, I'm not going to say they're all going to go away, but a lot of them are, and we need to gear up to being able to measure what the customers think of as successful, not what you think of as successful, and what the company thinks of as successful, not what you think of as successful. And that ties it back again to systems and tools and modernizing your infrastructure. Without a modern infrastructure, you are not going to be able to make this transformation. So I really do sincerely believe that you guys are at the center of all this, an intelligent, maybe autonomous platform, but a platform that gives you a new and enhanced ability to marry together human and machine interaction. These are non-negotiable. And I look forward personally to seeing what you guys are about ready to unveil.
Yeah, Bo, it's exciting stuff. And, most of the folks with us are our clients. And I will say they are on a modern Kantata platform. So number two, check. If I look at number three on the staircase here, tomorrow's session where we talk about AI maturity and how do you really get there? Integrating AI really shouldn't be a bolt-on. This should be part of your core PSA platform. And this is a lot of what we're going to talk about next in just the next few minutes with Sarah and Vikas, who are our Chief Product Officer and our Chief Engineering Officer. They have some really exciting news around how this new AI vision and roadmap that we have and the capabilities that we have today really sit on top of your modern architecture in two. So two and three, check, you're going to get that. And then I'll skip to five right above, operationalize scalable delivery. What we're about to talk about does that. So, this walking through these steps isn't going to take you years and years. With the Kantata architecture and infrastructure that you already have and the new announcements that we're going to share with you in a few moments, I think you're going to be able to really accelerate your journey to the PS 2.0 imperatives. So, Bo, I don't know if you have more to add. I think this has been a great talk. If we sum it up, we are at the crossroads. We absolutely need our leaders to make those decisions and go right and transform the business with the power of these transformational tools that Kantata is offering and bringing to you. So, any closing thoughts, Bo?
Transformations often fail. Why? I think it's really a failure of planning, I think often organizations neglect or give short shrift to the human change management piece of all this. So certain things you should do to enhance your chances of transforming successfully, define and align a transformation strategy. But it needs to involve quick wins. I mean, this is just basic stuff, right? Adopt some low cost, no cost AI use cases if you're really nowhere. I think a really key thing I want to highlight among 50 things I could mention, but I think offer management, services engineering, you got to systematically redesign your service portfolio to make it. It has to be standardized, I think repeatable subscription style, aligning pricing to measurable outcomes. This is not optional. And then finally, I've said it already, you said it, I'm going to just say it again. You have to invest in foundational technology. Prioritize upgrading or selecting a PSA technology like yours that enables and fuels this transformation, doesn't hinder it. It's got to support the required data infrastructure, data quality, systems integration, all of that. And I'm sure the folks attending your conference are going to learn all about that here in the coming days.
Bo, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful conversation as always with you. So for those of you who are on the next step, we've got a bold, exciting new vision. It's the next session. So we can't wait to see you. Stick around. It's going to be a fantastic keynote presentation. Thank you, Bo.
Take care, everybody.
All right. Thanks all.